Hi. So we're going to spend some time today talking about vulnerability, silliness, and societal change. But before we get to that, I would like us to do a little exercise together. I'm going to ask you to picture your favorite animal. I know there's a lot of grown-ups here today, so it might take us a minute to think about what it is, so I'll give you all a second. Picture it in your mind. Got it? Good. Okay. In a moment, I'm going to ask everyone to take in a big breath. I haven't done that today, so I need it. I'm sure some of y'all need it. We're going to take a big breath in as a group. We're going to hold that breath, picture that animal in the back of your mind, and on the count of 1, we are going to release our breath as well as our favorite animal's sound. Okay? All right. We're excited to do this. Great. I love it. We're going to breathe in. Biggest breath you've taken in all day. Hold it in your belly. Hold it. Picture that animal, and on 1, we're going to release this noise in 3, 2, 1. Roar! That was a little weird, wasn't it? I don't know about y'all, but I feel a lot better. And now some of y'all know my favorite animal is a bear, so thank y'all for doing that little exercise with me. At this point, you may be thinking, okay, what does social resistance have to do with barking like a dog? Your personal brand may not be breaking serious news to your loved ones while making dolphin noises, and that is totally valid. Silliness is social resistance. We are living in times where isolation is rampant, and we are encouraged to put out the things that make us, well, us. We live in times where it is encouraged to be alone. Silliness can unite us not only to better build community, but better build ourselves genuinely. And there are 4 ways to do that. Number 1 is don't be funny. Play, be genuine, and let go of ego. When we talk about don't being funny, I am serious. Silliness is a muscle that everyone has, and everyone can exercise it and make it better. As a lifelong silly person, I do consider my silly muscles pretty swole, but I've never considered myself funny. Anyone can be silly, and there is no wrong or right way to do it. Openness is needed. For some folks, that might mean coming on stage and making animal noises. For others, it may mean making a fart noise, high fives, fist bumps, whatever your brand is. Attempts to be funny can get in the way of that. Number 2 is play. Play allows us to have some back and forth, parameters in place, as well as some fun. We can also filter each other out. Maybe we don't vibe. Maybe we need to connect differently. Maybe animal noises aren't your jam. In our exercise, you may have noticed some folks saying silent. That is totally fine. Their favorite animal might be like a jellyfish or a shark or something. Maybe they just weren't into playing or sharing in that moment. That's totally valid too. I myself use isolation as a not so healthy coping mechanism. This isn't ideal, as I do identify as an introvert or someone who needs alone time to mentally, socially, physically recharge. I do need alone time, but too much is not good either. And my relationship with vulnerability is at best complicated. To be honest, I don't like it at all. This does explain why I am the way that I am as a silly person, though. I am uncomfortable, fearful, and anxious feeling a lot of the time, and it explains why I say so much weird shit. I had my first panic attack at 20 years old. I was driving down a New Hampshire highway. I don't really remember where I was going, but I do know I felt this tension in my body and mind throughout the whole day, and it exploded while I was driving. I was hyperventilating, shaking. I did not know what was happening. I remember I pulled over safely. I called my mom and my boyfriend at the time. The memories are kind of hazy, but I knew I thought I was going to die. I know this sounds dramatic, but if you've ever had the misfortune of having a panic attack, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And if you haven't, consider yourself extremely lucky. I thought, this was it. Great, 20 years Earthside, and now I'm gonna die somewhere on a 3-lane highway in my little blue Honda Civic. I thought I was going insane. No, I was not. I would eventually make it home in a teary heap of a human. But no, it would also not be the last time I felt that way. I was diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder, social anxiety disorder, and panic disorders at 21 years old. Throughout the years, I continued doing medication and counseling and isolating myself. I felt that it was too scary to address these things going on. I was very fearful of future attacks. What if there was going to be one big enough to take me out? I was fearful of future attacks, and surely the only way to deal with that was to not normalize it, not talk about it, and continue to make it a big, scary thing that would eventually end me. If I talked about it, that means I would meet my demise sooner. This went on for years until my now husband, then boyfriend at the time, Ken, did something silly and quite frankly a little stupid to help me during an oncoming attack. I remember I was sitting in our apartment, I was on our love seat, my eyes were squeezed shut, I was hyperventilating, cycling between doing okay and doing not so okay, trying to fend off this attack. I remember feeling and sensing Ken wandering around our apartment, getting regular go-to things for an oncoming attack, weighted blanket, ice water, stuffed animals, and so on. But no. I remember squeezing my eyes shut, hyperventilating. Ken knelt down in front of me, took my fist and opened it and placed something plastic in them. I opened my eyes. It was a fake banana. I was not only speechless because of my hyperventilation, but I was also speechless because what the fuck did you just give me? He looked at me helplessly and said, "It's the anxiety banana." This is something that has stuck in our almost 9 years together as a couple, and something that has allowed us to create normalcy within our household surrounding these not so fun things to talk about. We've even discussed having a cornucopia of different mental illnesses and different fruits. Hopefully that will happen in the near future. I think it's pretty safe to say that during that time when Ken was feeling so helpless, he was able to be genuinely himself and be silly with me. And that in turn gave us greater bond and allowed me to better heal from being scared of my own anxieties and panic attacks. During our earlier exercise, maybe you noticed someone who made the same noise as you. Maybe you noticed someone who's quiet. That is okay. The caring and keeping of you and your boundaries are absolutely vital when making genuine connections with one another. If you're not sticking with that, you're not being genuine. When we talk about the last bit, which is letting go of ego, I'm not talking about self-confidence. I had years and years of lack of self-confidence, and I was still a pretty silly person. I'm talking about that liminal space between conscious and subconscious, where our brain is trying to protect us as well as create our reality. We need to make sure we're acknowledging this and not trying to get rid of it, because it is a protector. It's there to keep us safe. But if we recognize it and work with it, we are then better able to be our true selves and be our true sillies with each other. So as our time together comes to a close, I'm gonna ask everyone one more time to picture your favorite animal. Maybe it's your second or third favorite this time, one that actually makes a noise. Okay, so I'll give y'all a second, and then we're gonna take in a big breath again. Hold it, think of that animal, and on the count of one, we're gonna release that animal's noise. In 3, 2, 1. Meow. Thank you.